The human soldier's presence turned the alien commander's smugness into pure horror. What was originally a guaranteed curb-stomp victory for the invading force had just become a deadly nightmare. The Ledosians, a ruthlessly advanced alien species, had swiftly conquered countless star systems and brutally enslaved entire civilizations. They were extremely confident that the tiny human defense fleet would be helpless against their massive invasion armada. The Ledosian Emperor Ector himself oversaw the final invasion preparations from the bridge of his gargantuan 2-kilometer-long flagship, the LSS Dominator. Thousands of genetically engineered Ledosian warriors, bred for war, manned the huge dreadnought's devastating plasma cannons. An energy barrier shielded the ship from all attacks. Countless Ledosian warships assembled in perfect formation around Emperor Ector's ship, awaiting the order to enter hyperspace and begin the invasion of Earth. Ector's top general Zarek approached the ship's holographic display, pointing a clawed finger at Earth's laughably small defenses. Only a few 100,000 United Nations Space Command ground troops and an outdated fleet of rickety human ships stood between the Ledosians and total victory. Ector bellowed a deep laugh, eager to enslave the weak and primitive human species. With a wave of his hand, Ector commanded the invasion to begin. The Ledosian ships rocketed into hyperspace, rapidly approaching humanity's homeworld. Emperor Ector daydreamed about parading the human slaves through his grand palace and imagined himself being showered with the spoils of war. Little did he know, humanity's secret weapon was about to send those dreams crashing down in flames. Ector would soon come face to face with the unbreakable spirit of Earth's greatest heroes, the brave men and women of the UNSC Marines. The fate of all mankind hung in the balance. As the Ledosian ships entered Earth's orbit, Captain Benjamin Williams stared at his display in dismay from Prometheus Station on Titan. The moon's grey surface filled the station's viewports. Williams, a hardened UNSC Marine, had faced impossible odds before, but this was a threat on a scale he had never seen. He turned to his 500 battle-ready troops, all that stood between the Ledosians and the sensitive weapons research at the remote outpost. "All hands battle stations," Williams barked into the intercom. Red alarm lights flashed. "The Ledosians have arrived in force. I want those prototype Mjolnir rifles and all other essential tech, loaded for evacuation ASAP. In the station's hangar bay, Marines rushed to secure the experimental energy weapons in reinforced crates. Forklifts beeped, hoisting the containers into waiting Pelican dropships. That's when the horrific reports started pouring in over the radio. "Sir, Earth is getting hammered, I repeat. Earth is under heavy bombardment." The soldier's panicked voice crackled through the static. "Ledosian ships are hitting every major city from orbit with plasma. London, New York, Beijing, they're burning them all to ash." "Calm down, Corporal," Williams shouted back. "What's the status of the home fleet?" "Our ships are getting torn apart, Captain. The Ledosians are too powerful. Their weapons are punching right through our hulls. We've already lost 80% of the fleet. Earth has no protection." Williams slammed his fist on the console, his face grim. The UNSC's worst nightmare had come true. Humanity's homeworld was defenseless against the alien onslaught. He opened a channel to UNSC High Command, praying that someone was still alive to hear him. "This is Captain Williams on Titan. I need emergency orders, over." A few tense seconds passed before a voice responded, laced with interference. "Captain Williams, this is Admiral Singh. You are to evacuate Prometheus Station immediately. Destroy any tech you can't take with you. We cannot allow the prototypes to fall into enemy hands. Get your men out of there." "Understood, Admiral. We'll—" A thunderous boom shook the station. Warning klaxons blared. Williams grabbed the intercom again. "Report, what the hell was that?" "Sir, Ledosian scout ship detected off our stern. They've found us and they're attacking." Williams felt his blood run cold. They were out of time. "Sergeant, are those weapons loaded?" "Affirmative, Captain. We've got the Mjolnirs and every scrap of data on board the transports. Get those Pelicans in the air, Titan base. Give me firing control of the station's railguns. If those bastards want a fight, we'll give 'em one." The hangar doors opened, and the Pelicans rocketed into space, afterburners flaring against the starry black. Behind them, Prometheus Station's hull lit up as its massive railguns swiveled to acquire the Ledosian scout ship. The alien craft was already raking the human outpost with plasma, boiling away armor in glowing streaks. But it was not prepared for the fury of the Mjolnir rifles. From the troop bays of the Pelicans, a dozen Marines leveled the prototype weapons and opened fire. Blinding beams of blue-white energy sliced through the void, slamming into the Ledosian ship's hull. Its shields flared, flickered, and died under the relentless barrage. The beams tore into the craft's innards, spewing debris and atmosphere. "Their shields are down, finish them off." The railguns spoke with a deafening roar. A dozen tungsten slugs smashed into the dying scout ship at a fraction of light speed. The Ledosian ship crumpled like tin foil and exploded in a miniature sun. Cheers erupted over the comms, but Williams silenced them with a barked command. He had seen the Ledosian armada's size. This was one tiny victory in a losing war. Then the sensors pinged in alarm. "Sir, I've got multiple bogies incoming. More Ledosian ships on approach." Williams stared at the screens, his fists clenched. A wave of fresh enemy reinforcements was descending on Titan, no doubt alerted by the scout ship's destruction. Hundreds of them. Against his small band of Pelicans it would be a slaughter. But the Mjolnir rifles had proved they could destroy Ledosian ships. If he could get those weapons back to the remaining UNSC forces, they might just have a chance to even the odds and save Earth from annihilation. It was a desperate plan, but it was all humanity had left. Prometheus Station. Set the reactor to overload and abandon the base. "All Pelicans form up on me," Williams ordered, his voice steel. "We're punching a hole through that Ledosian screen, and we're taking the Mjolnirs to the fleet. We'll show these alien bastards what happens when you piss off the UNSC." The Pelicans' engines roared as they rocketed away from the exploding Prometheus Station. Plasma bolts from the incoming Ledosian ships sizzled past the transports, barely missing them. Williams gripped the armrests of his seat, his knuckles white. They had escaped Titan by the skin of their teeth, but Earth was still under siege. They needed a plan, and fast. "Sir, incoming transmission from UNSC Command," the pilot called out. "It's heavily encrypted." Williams leaned forward. "Patch it through." A hologram flickered to life, revealing a grizzled man in a tattered admiral's uniform. "Captain Williams, this is Admiral Marcus Hammond. Damn good to see you made it out of there." "Likewise, Admiral. But Earth is taking a beating. We need to hit back and hit back hard." Hammond nodded grimly. "Agreed. Rendezvous with us at these coordinates near Jupiter. We've set up a temporary base in the asteroid belt, and bring those Mjolnir rifles with you. We're going to need every advantage we can get." The Pelicans docked at the hidden asteroid base, a sprawling network of tunnels and hangars carved into a massive space rock. Williams and his men disembarked, Mjolnir rifles in hand, to find Admiral Hammond waiting for them. "Captain, walk with me," Hammond said, leading Williams through the bustling base. Technicians and soldiers rushed by, preparing weapons and ships for the coming fight. Prometheus Station wasn't our only secret. We've had research outposts across the solar system, working on advanced tech to counter the Ledosians. Williams raised an eyebrow. "Sir?" "Experimental ship drives, energy shields, AI, you name it, we've been developing it," Hammond explained. "In particular, there's a powerful AI called Athena that could turn the tide. With her strategic capabilities, she could coordinate our counterattack, find the weak points in their fleet." "Sounds promising. Where is this Athena?" Hammond's face darkened. "On Mars, in a heavily fortified research complex, and now that the Ledosians have invaded, that facility is behind enemy lines. We need to retrieve her core before they discover it." Williams set his jaw. "I'll lead a strike team, sir. Get in, secure the package, and get out." "I had a feeling you'd say that," Hammond said with a wry smile. "Pick your men, Captain. You'll need the best for this op." An hour later, Williams and a hand-picked squad of his most lethal Marines boarded a captured Ledosian shuttle in the base's hangar. Sergeants Jack O'Neill and Robert Kane, Williams's trusted right-hand men, checked their weapons as the ship lifted off. "Feels wrong flying in one of these alien tin cans," O'Neill muttered, eyeing the unfamiliar controls. "Stow it, Jack," Kane said. "If it gets us past their blockade, I'll fly a goddamn piñata." The disguised shuttle approached Mars, slipping through the Ledosian ships with forged codes. As they entered the atmosphere, the red planet's dusty landscape stretched out before them, dotted with Ledosian encampments and patrols. Williams pointed to a massive structure built into the side of Olympus Mons, the solar system's tallest mountain. "There, the Athena facility. Set us down behind those ridges." The shuttle touched down, and the strike team piled out, Mjolnir rifles at the ready. They advanced on the complex using the terrain for cover, but as they neared the entrance, alarms began to blare. Ledosian soldiers poured out of the facility, plasma rifles blazing. Williams and his men dived for cover, returning fire with the deadly Mjolnirs. Blue-white beams cut through the aliens, dropping them in sprays of sizzling blood. "Push forward," Williams roared over the chaos. "We need to breach that door." O'Neill and Kane charged ahead, dodging plasma bolts and firing as they ran. They reached the massive blast door and slapped breaching charges on its surface. The explosives detonated, blowing the door inward in a shower of twisted metal. The Marines stormed inside, Mjolnirs sweeping for targets. Ledosian guards and automated turrets opened up on them, filling the air with deadly energy bolts. Williams and his men took cover, whittling down the defenders with precise shots. But more aliens kept pouring in from deeper in the facility. Williams realized they were in danger of being overwhelmed. "Kane! Find us a path to the Athena core!" he shouted. Kane consulted his wrist display, overlaying a schematic of the base. "Got it, this way." They fought their way deeper into the complex, trading shots with Ledosian soldiers at every turn. Alarms blared and lights flashed as the facility's security systems tried to pin them down. But the Mjolnirs gave them the edge, punching through the toughest alien armor. Suddenly a plasma bolt caught O'Neill in the side, spinning him to the ground. "Jack!" Kane cried, dragging his friend into cover. Williams laid down suppressive fire, trying to keep the aliens at bay. O'Neill groaned, clutching his wound. "I'll be fine," he growled through gritted teeth. "Just get that damn AI." A squad of Ledosian elites burst into the room, energy swords flashing. They charged the pinned-down humans, intent on finishing them off. But O'Neill, struggling to one knee, primed a grenade and hurled it into their midst. The explosion tore the aliens apart, buying the Marines precious seconds. "Come on, Jack, on your feet," Kane urged, hauling O'Neill up. "We're almost there." They reached the central chamber, a vast room dominated by a glowing blue sphere, Athena's core. Williams and Kane rushed to the control panel, working frantically to disengage the AI's containment field. "Got it!" Kane shouted as the sphere lifted free. He grabbed the core and tucked it into his pack. "Now let's get the hell out of here." More Ledosians flooded into the chamber, plasma flying. The Marines fell back, O'Neill leaning heavily on Kane. Williams covered their retreat, Mjolnir beams scything through the aliens. They burst out of the facility, sprinting for the waiting shuttle. Behind them, the complex began to shudder and explode, self-destruct charges reducing it to rubble. Williams remotely fired up the shuttle's engines as they approached, and they leaped aboard just as the craft lifted off. Plasma bolts chased them into the sky, but the shuttle's shields held. They rocketed away from the surface, punching through the atmosphere and into the star-strewn black of space. In the shuttle's hold, Kane lowered a badly wounded O'Neill to the deck. "Hold on, Jack," he urged, fumbling for a medkit. "We'll get you patched up." Williams knelt beside them, Athena's core secure in his hands. "You did good, Sergeant," he told O'Neill. "Bought us the time we needed down there." O'Neill managed a pained grin. "Anything for you, sir," he said weakly. Williams turned to Kane. "Get us back to the asteroid base. We've got an AI to deliver and a counterattack to plan. It's time we took the fight to these alien bastards. As the shuttle hurtled through space, dodging Ledosian patrols, Williams allowed himself a small surge of hope. With Athena's help, maybe, just maybe, they could turn the tide of this war. The battle was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion began, humanity had a chance to strike back. Admiral Hammond was waiting for them in the base's command center. Williams handed him Athena's core, and the Admiral slotted it into the main console. The room filled with a soft blue glow as the AI came online. "Greetings, Admiral Captain," Athena's calm voice echoed from the speakers. "I am ready to assist in the defense of humanity." Hammond and Williams exchanged a determined look. "Athena, we need a plan," the Admiral said grimly. "A way to hit the Ledosians where it hurts and buy Earth time to regroup. What have you got for us?" The AI was silent for a moment, processing, strategizing. Then a star map appeared above the console, Ledosian ship positions marked in angry red. "I believe I have a solution, Admiral," Athena said, zeroing in on a point in the enemy fleet. "A daring strike at the heart of their command. It will be risky, but if successful, it could throw the Ledosians into disarray." She looked to Williams. "Captain, are your men ready for the fight of their lives?" Williams thought of Earth, burning under alien guns. He thought of O'Neill, wounded but unbowed. He thought of every Marine under his command, ready to lay down their lives for humanity's survival. He met Athena's steady gaze. "Damn right we're ready," he growled. "Let's show these alien scum what it means to mess with the UNSC." Hammond nodded sharply. "Then let's get to work. We've got a war to win." And in that moment, deep in an asteroid base far from Earth, the spark of humanity's resistance began to blaze anew. The Ledosians had started this fight, but by God, the UNSC was going to finish it. In the asteroid base's command center, Williams and Hammond huddled around Athena's holographic display. The AI's avatar, a glowing blue woman, gestured to a schematic of the Ledosian fleet. "I have identified a critical vulnerability," Athena said, zooming in on a massive gas giant labeled LV-426. "The Ledosians are using this planet to refuel their ships and resupply their troops. If we can destroy the refueling station and supply depots there, we could cripple their offensive capabilities." Williams leaned forward, studying the readout. "What's the plan?" "I recommend a small strike team to infiltrate the station," Athena replied. "Plant explosive charges at key structural points and sabotage the reactor core. The resulting explosion should take out a significant portion of their fleet." Hammond nodded grimly. "It's risky, but it could buy us the time we need." He turned to Williams. "Captain, assemble your best soldiers for this mission. We're counting on you." Williams saluted. "Yes, sir." He strode out of the command center, mind racing. He knew just who he needed for this op. In the base's medbay, he found O'Neill and Kane, both recovered from their wounds on Mars. They looked up as he entered. "Gentlemen, we've got a mission," Williams said. "A chance to strike back at these alien bastards. You in?" O'Neill grinned, cracking his knuckles. "Thought you'd never ask, sir." Next, Williams sought out Dr. Elizabeth Shaw, the base's chief engineer. He found her in the hangar bay, overseeing repairs on the captured Ledosian transport ship they'd be using for the mission. "Dr. Shaw, I need your expertise," Williams said. "We're hitting the Ledosians where it hurts, and I need your team to make sure their station goes up in flames." Shaw pushed her glasses up her nose, a determined glint in her eye. "We'll get it done, Captain. Those aliens won't know what hit them." Within hours, Williams and his hand-picked team were aboard the transport, rocketing towards LV-426. As they approached the massive gas giant, proximity alarms began to blare. "Have we been spotted?" Kane shouted from the cockpit. "Ledosian fighters incoming!" The transport shuddered as plasma bolts slammed into its shields. Williams strapped himself into a turret, returning fire with the ship's captured Ledosian guns. The strange, organic-looking fighters swarmed around them like angry hornets. "Keep us steady, Kane," Williams barked, his shots finding their mark. Ledosian ships exploded in bursts of flame, but more kept coming. A lucky shot punched through their shields, rocking the ship. Consoles sparked and smoke filled the cabin. "We're losing power," Kane yelled, struggling with the controls. "Brace for impact!" The transport plummeted towards the refueling station, a sprawling metal construct suspended in the swirling clouds of LV-426. They hit the deck hard, skidding across the surface in a shower of sparks. Williams kicked open the hatch, Mjolnir rifle in hand. "Move out! Secure the landing zone!" Ledosian troops boiled out of the station's airlocks, plasma flying. Williams and his team took cover behind the wrecked transport, trading shots with the aliens. Sizzling plasma bolts filled the air, barely held at bay by the UNSC's experimental energy shields. "Push forward," Williams ordered. "We need to get inside that station." They advanced, leapfrogging from cover to cover. Ledosian soldiers fell before the Mjolnir's onslaught, their armor no match for the rifle's devastating power. Williams led the charge, O'Neill and Kane at his flanks, cutting a path through the enemy. Dr. Shaw and her engineers followed close behind, setting charges as they went. The shaped explosives adhered to the station's vital systems: power conduits, structural supports, fuel lines. Deeper into the station they pushed, facing ever fiercer resistance. Ledosian security drones joined the fray, their robotic limbs bristling with deadly weapons. But the UNSC team was unstoppable, driven by the desperate need to save their homeworld. At last they reached the heart of the station, the immense reactor core that powered the entire facility. Shaw and her team went to work, hacking into the alien systems to overload the core. Williams and the others formed a perimeter, guns trained on the entrances. That's when he appeared, Emperor Ector himself flanked by his elite guard. The towering alien warlord was clad in ornate battle armor, an energy glaive crackling in his clawed grip. "Pathetic humans," Ector sneered. "You dare strike at the heart of my empire. I will take great pleasure in grinding your species beneath my heel." William stepped forward, Mjolnir leveled at the Emperor's chest. "Not if we stop you first, you alien son of a bitch." With a roar, Ector charged, his guards at his heels. The room erupted into chaos, plasma and Mjolnir beams crisscrossing in a deadly light show. Williams found himself locked in desperate combat with Ector, the alien's glaive clashing against his rifle. All around them, O'Neill, Kane and the others fought for their lives against the Ledosian elites. Plasma swords flashed, Mjolnir rifles thundered. Humans and aliens alike screamed and fell, the deck growing slick with blood. But even as he traded blows with the Emperor, Williams knew they were out of time. The reactor was going critical, the station shuddering around them. "Shaw!" he yelled into his comm. "Tell me you're finished." "Charges set," came the engineer's reply. 30 seconds to detonation." Williams gritted his teeth, pouring all his strength into forcing Ector back. The alien snarled, eyes blazing with hate. "You will die here, human," Ector growled, "and your pathetic species with you." Williams smiled grimly. "Maybe," he said, "but not before you." With a final effort, he twisted his rifle, slipping inside Ector's guard. He slapped a breaching charge, his last, onto the Emperor's breastplate. Ector's eyes widened in shock. "See you in hell," Williams spat and detonated the charge. The explosion flung them apart, Ector's armor shattering. The Emperor howled in agony, purple blood gushing from his mangled chest. All around them, the station bucked and heaved as Shaw's charges began to explode in rippling cascades. "Time to go," Williams shouted to his team. They disengaged from the remaining Ledosians, sprinting for the evac point as fire and debris rained down. The aliens were in disarray, reeling from their Emperor's fall. They barely made it to the transport before the reactor went up, the ensuing explosion tearing the station apart from the inside out. As they rocketed away, the refueling platform collapsed in on itself like a dying star, secondary explosions chaining through the surrounding Ledosian fleet. Williams sagged back in his seat, exhaustion and elation warring within him. They had struck a blow against the aliens this day, a blow that would be felt across the stars. The war was far from over, but for the first time, the tide was turning. He looked to his battered but victorious team, pride swelling in his chest. "Hell of a job, people," he said. "Hell of a job. But this is only the beginning. We've got a long fight ahead of us." Kane grinned, slapping a fresh power cell into his Mjolnir. "Bring it on," he said. "The UNSC is just getting started." As they sped back towards the asteroid base, leaving the burning wreckage of the Ledosian station behind them, Williams allowed himself a moment of hope. Against all odds, humanity was still in this fight, and with soldiers like these at his side, they just might have a chance to win it. As Williams' battered strike team docked at the hidden asteroid base, cheers erupted from the assembled survivors. News of the devastating blow dealt to the Ledosian fleet had spread like wildfire, and the ragged remnants of humanity dared to hope again. Admiral Hammond clasped Williams' hand, his eyes shining with pride. "You did it, Captain. You bought us a fighting chance." But even as the celebrations began, klaxons blared throughout the base. "Ledosian ships incoming. General Zarek's flagship is leading the charge." Williams and Hammond raced to the command center, watching in horror as a massive Ledosian armada bore down on the asteroid. Plasma torpedoes pounded the base's shields, and Athena's avatar flickered with each impact. "They're launching boarding pods," Kane shouted, pointing to the screen. Dozens of Ledosian craft punched through the weakening shields, disgorging hundreds of elite warriors into the base's halls. The humans fought with desperate fury, Mjolnir fire ripping through Ledosian armor. But for every alien that fell, 2 more took their place. The defenders were forced back, step by bloody step. In the command center, Hammond slammed his fist on the console. "We can't hold them," he growled, "but we have one last card to play." He turned to Williams, his face grim. "The EMP device." Williams' eyes widened. He knew the cost of activating that weapon. It would fry every electronic system on the base, including life support, but it was their only hope. "Do it," he said. Hammond nodded. "All ships prepare for emergency hyperspace jump on my mark. Evacuate all personnel to the hangar bays." As the orders went out, Williams gathered his team. "We're staying," he said. "Someone has to trigger the EMP manually." O'Neill and Kane exchanged a glance, then nodded. "We're with you, Captain," O'Neill said. They fought their way to the EMP chamber, a trail of Ledosian corpses in their wake. The device loomed before them, a massive sphere crackling with barely contained energy. Williams stepped to the control panel. "Athena, initiate the evacuation, and thank you for everything." "It has been an honor, Captain," the AI replied, her voice soft. "Godspeed." He turned to his team. "Gentlemen, it's been a privilege." Together they activated the EMP. A blinding pulse of energy erupted from the device, washing over the base and the Ledosian fleet. Ships tumbled helplessly, their systems fried. In the hangar bays, the last human transports leapt into hyperspace, carrying the survivors to an uncertain future. On the bridge of his dead ship, General Zarek howled in rage as he watched the human fleet escape. The Ledosian Empire had been brought low by a handful of primitives. The shame was unbearable. In the EMP chamber, Williams and his team slumped to the floor as the base's systems failed around them. The cold of space seeped in, and the air grew thin. But they had done their duty. They had given humanity a chance. As the lights faded and the end drew near, Williams' thoughts turned to Earth, to the green hills and blue skies he had fought so hard to defend. They were gone now, reduced to ashes by Ledosian plasma. But maybe, just maybe, the survivors would find a new home among the stars, a place to rebuild, to start again, and as long as even one human drew breath, the spirit of Earth would live on. That was the hope Williams clung to as the darkness closed in, the hope that had driven him and his soldiers to make the ultimate sacrifice. In the silence of the dead base, in the cold embrace of space, Captain Benjamin Williams and his valiant crew breathed their last. Heroes, everyone. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, Please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.